What's up everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Sorry for the lack of uploads, but the past week and a half I've been kind of organizing and just picking up parts and also trying to figure out where the parts for this bike that are currently on it that I'm still going to use are going to go for coatings and everything else, kind of doing all the footwork because it is just me working on the bike. It is just me kind of sorting everything out and picking everything up. So without further ado, we're going to get to taking this thing apart, kind of just organizing everything, and so I can take, you know, a batch of all the powder coated stuff to one place, a batch of all the Cerakoted stuff to another, and then if we need any anodizing or any other kind of coatings, I can take that to a separate place also. So in today's video, I'm just gonna start kind of taking it apart. I always kind of take the wheels off and then the suspension off first, but it always leaves it really unbalanced on the stand. And the first things that I need to take off this thing are all the high temp parts. So the engine, the radiators, the brakes, and I think that's pretty much it. That's all going to Cerakote because that type of coating can withstand the high temps. So I don't really know, like usually powder coating or anodizing, I think it discolors a little bit when it gets hot. And Cerakoting is a little bit more of a flat kind of finish, and it, like I said, it just kind of withstands the high temps of the engine, the radiators, and obviously the brake parts that heat up a lot more than the rest of the parts on the motorcycle. So I think we're gonna start there, take that stuff apart, and then get as far as we can in today's video. And then on Thursday, I'm gonna post another one, kind of disassembling more of the stuff. Also, I have a lot of parts that I picked up for this thing in the past couple weeks. So in Thursday's video, I'll be introducing all that stuff too, as well as kind of finishing the disassembly of the bike. This is the last time this bike's gonna look like this in its stock form. I did have a ton of fun on this bike, just as it is. I didn't even set sag in this thing. I totally forgot that. I realized that like after I watched the drone footage that I never set sag or really did anything to this bike. It's still got the stock engine oil. I think I turned the clicks in pretty much maxed all the way in as stiff as they'd go, but totally forgot to check sag. Even some days I rode it without checking tire pressure. I'm not very good at wrenching on my bike when I get to the track. I get very excited when I get there. I tend to forget a couple things and then realize it when I'm on the track. But anyways, this thing did great in its stock form. I was really, really happy with it. It's so light, I really can't emphasize that enough. I'm gonna set this thing up on a tripod and we'll start disassembling it and kind of do a little time lapse, and then if I stumble across anything important, I'll pull it off the tripod and show you guys like always. But without any more rambling, let's get to taking this thing apart. All right guys, we got the plastics all stripped off, and man, it is weird working on this bike versus the Honda. It is, so lots of different, like, I don't know, styles, the way this thing was put together, and different sizes. By the way, Molly's bugging me the whole time to throw the ball, but she's a good chop dog. But anyways, it's just very different. Don't mind the dirty air filter, by the way. It's just really kind of uniquely put together, I like to say. It comes apart really, you know, relatively easy, but if you keep seeing me reach into this drawer and writing stuff down, it's because I like to stay pretty organized. I've only taken a few things off so far, but I like to tape down the bolts and then kind of write what they are. So I'm trying to kind of overdo it with this thing because it's very foreign to me. Working on the Hondas for so long, it's like, obviously like getting past the plastics and all that stuff is, yeah, that's pretty simple to kind of get all that stuff off. But once you get beyond that, it gets a little complicated. Then I have to kind of write down what it is and take pictures and, you know, use all the reference photos from when I'm putting it back together. But this is so foreign to me that I really want to kind of overdo it and, you know, have almost too much information when I'm putting it back together, just so that it goes together right. I don't have to call anybody, and I can just do it myself and make it as easy as possible, you know, weeks down the road when I'm putting this thing back together. But anyways, thought I'd update you guys right now. Throw this thing back on the tripod at another time lapse. I'm trying to kind of work my way down to the engine, just take that out first. I do have to drain the radiators. That should be pretty much it. It shouldn't be too much harder from now. This is kind of weird. Like this engine, I have a feeling is gonna come out very easily compared to the Honda, because once I remove like the air boot and the throttle body, it'll kind of come out easy because it's not a perimeter frame. It doesn't go like around both sides of the engine. It's just the main support right here. So not only are the bolts all different, but also just the way it's put together is different. So very foreign to me. That's why I'm being overly organized. All right guys, we got the subframe off. This thing's actually coming apart really easy. It's really not as complicated as I thought it was gonna be. But again, just kind of being over cautious and over organized just in case. But I'm trying to kind of work my way from the back obviously forward and from the top down. So trying to keep most of the wiring organized and kind of remember how, you know, it's all loomed through the frame and all that. I'm also kind of taking my phone out and taking pictures and videos of where the wires are going, you know, the way it was routed, just because when I'm putting it back together, obviously I'm gonna be starting from scratch. So oh, and I guess I haven't really mentioned that I'm tearing this thing down to the frame to get the engine coated. I'm actually taking this black coating off the frame and changing it, so completely different from what we usually do, obviously with the 110, which by the way, I had an OEM part break in those forks, so be careful if you put stiffer fork springs on there because the OEM part will snap, so that was kind of sketchy, but nothing on VBR's part. It was just honestly just an OEM part that snapped in the forks. But anyways, taking the black paint off of that frame. Usually we black the frame out, and then my 450L, which is usually right there, also has a black frame. But this comes with a black frame, which would have been easy, but me being me, I wanted to change it up and do something different from stock. So taking that apart, stripping the coating off of it and changing that. I'm gonna start disassembling, you know, the parts that hold the engine in, like the engine hangers. Gotta take the header off and pull off those coolant hoses. Gotta take the radiators off to send those to get Cerakoted as well as the engine. So like I said, just working my way down and forward. So I just removed the radiators off camera. It's kind of messy and it's really not that cool to watch. So I just pulled those off. Again, it's kind of a mess. Like I wanted to do it out here and I spray it down and try to be really careful. If you're doing this at home, I recommend doing the same thing. Obviously it's a little messy, so bring it outside. It's also very poisonous to animals. So try and keep that as far away from them as you can. So I put Molly inside, drain the coolant, and then try to dilute it with a bunch of water. So, because she does play out there and obviously hangs out in the garage. So try to keep it safe for her and try not to spill any. But yeah, we're getting close. I just got to remove that header, take off the engine hangers, and the engine should start to come right out. So we'll go ahead and get that done right now. All right, there it is, guys. The engine is out. I'm gonna go ahead and tape up all the spots where the coolant goes, as well as both sides of the throttle body and the intake right here. So tape those up, should be ready to go. I gotta get disassembled and sent off to get Cerakoted, but this thing's gonna look awesome when it's all done. But to wrap up this video, I'm gonna go ahead and pull off these brakes. And then in Thursday's video, we will finish up disassembling the entire bike. And I have a ton of parts over there that I wanna show you guys. So anyways, back to it. Take off these front brakes, finish off what's left of the rear brakes. I did go ahead and take off the rear master cylinder just to get a little bit more clearance for the engine, as well as disconnect the top of the shock to the frame because I needed to slide it back in order to pull the throttle body off. I'm gonna go ahead and take these brakes off, get everything in a pile so that I can take it off to Cerakote later this week. All right guys, so to conclude today's video, bike's pretty much apart. I'm gonna finish that up another time, but I just kind of put everything together of what I want to Cerakote. Obviously the engine, like I said, all the hot parts, the brakes. I left the radiators up here just because I don't want them to drip and my dog be able to get into them. And then some of this stuff I'm kind of questioning. I don't know if I should Cerakote or powder coat or what I'm gonna do yet. So kind of left that stuff up. I'm gonna call some people tomorrow and figure out what the best solution is. I am going to pick up wheels for this thing tomorrow. And like I said before, I have a bunch of stuff over there that I wanna show you guys, and I'm waiting on one more package of parts. So like always, thank you guys for watching. If you don't already subscribe, like the video, comment, let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Aside from my soul.